This is Rogers TV, Moncton.
This program is brought to you by MLB Extra Innings, part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack. Follow the teams and players you want to watch.
This week on Sports Inclusive, longtime professional hockey player Derek Cormier.
Here with Derek Cormier. Derek, what's your first memory of having a hockey stick in your hand?
First memory? Well, actually, first memory, I see pictures. My mom was a big collector of picture taken, and very fortunate for that. And I still picture myself in my parents' living room upstairs, wearing that Canadiens jersey, skates on, the whole thing. Just really loving the game at a very young age. I don't know what age it would have been, probably 2 or 3 years old.
Wow.
And I have some fond memories of those younger years for sure.
When did you know that you were going to be a special player and the game came a little easier? Obviously some hard work behind the scenes. When did you figure out, wow, hockey's going to be my go-to?
I wanted it from a young age. Obviously, that's something I worked for. I really wanted it. I guess I really didn't really know I really wanted that, I guess. And I'm going to say probably around the high school, kind of junior era, when things kind of started getting more maturity and kind of seeing like really what I want to do. And once I really got to junior level, I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And this is what I worked for. Even growing up, like I said, maybe was a little gifted skating-wise, talent-wise, but there was a lot of adversity against me and small and stuff like that I had to work through and a lot of stuff like that too. So I don't know exactly when it was, but I'm going to say probably on that junior era, once I kind of got going there, that I realized, you know what, I want to play hockey for a living. And that's kind of where I started to step my game, started learning the game more, and had been around some good coaches, some good places, and guys pushed me in the right direction.
Talk about the adversity and the size. When in your era, size, everyone wanted the 6'3" power forward. That's not your game.
Oh, definitely not. That's kind of where it was tough at that time. Like, there were any teams I was cut from, the elite teams, just because of size-wise. And you know what? It's one of those things that I believe myself, believe in my talent, my skill, that I could get myself to where I wanted to be. And my parents too, my family pushed me to the right place. And I said I might have been 5'8" or I would have been, but I told myself I was 6'2". I played a big man's game. I had to protect myself however I could. And I used to tell a lot of kids I played hockey scared. Not scared because I was scared, but scared I was quick.
Yeah.
Faster to the puck, faster I was out. So that's kind of how I taught myself to kind of get around that bigger man's game. I mean, I had to be faster, I had to be smarter, and I got in there, got out, did my thing. So it's kind of, I kind of used that smallness to advantage when it came to the bigger guys. But it was a lot of adversity to, mentally, and just being, physically too. Physically, I always thought, but I had to push through and do the right things.
You mentioned high school ranks. How important was Dale Turner's influence on your career, Chuck Cormier as well, the impact that they had at that high school level? Oh,
definitely. I think back my era of high school hockey was the place to be. Not the midget program at that time, but it wasn't quite what it is today.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the top players played high school at the time, and having Dale Turner I didn't have a chance to be coached by Dale. He kind of showed Chuck the ropes to bring Chuck into place, and Chuck was a great coach for us, and I was there with him 3 years, whatever it was. It was some great years, some great memories, and and kind of those were the development years of my career when it came to that part, and kind of give that chance and give me the confidence, and I look back at those years with some really, really good times.
Well, you mentioned the good times, fondest memory, big championship wing here, the Coke Classic.
Oh, definitely. It's one of those things, there's always things in mind, and the Coliseum, I still remember that day, it was, jam-packed arena, and my father, that's one of his fondest memories, was that holiday Christmas Classic here in Moncton, and it's definitely a great, great memory. That's, Moncton. I haven't had many of those great memories in Moncton. Junior has some great days in Dieppe, junior days, but that Classic was quite immense.
The impact that the Coliseum had on high school hockey, maybe just discuss the Coliseum and with it closing and now the new event center, You mentioned the crowds and that during the Coke Classic.
Oh, the Coke Classic, I remember the schools used to, I mean, it was a big event. That was, the schools used to shut down, and the lower bowl was jam-packed, and parents kind of filled in the upper bowl, and it was a great event. And to have that Coliseum kind of move on now, I think it was time for it. I'm glad to see Moncton is moving in that direction to, become the city that belongs and have that rink downtown, which is I think it's a great thing. And I'm looking forward to actually going to watch some hockey games there.
From the high school ranks, Derek, into the junior, you said it yourself, that's when the game changed for you. That's when your mentality changed. A tremendous junior career that really propelled you into 16 years of professional hockey.
Oh, definitely. I mean, be a local like that too, and not having that major junior thing around here like kids have today, it was a kind of a different road, and I had plans maybe to go to the university college route, and that's kind of where the Tier 2 part came into it. And having my 2 years of junior here locally, I did go in my second year half that year. Things just didn't kind of go my way in Ontario, that I didn't come back and play in my second year here, junior, and definitely, it was one of those things, even becoming a coach with Tipper and, Derek Cormier, those guys were, still great hockey coaches, great hockey people, and once again, I always call it gave me the confidence, gave me the opportunity to play and be myself.
You mentioned the university ranks. Had to be some offers from south of the border. You chose a different route, the UMB route at that time.
I look back and everybody always asks me, is that a regret? Because I did have that opportunity. I definitely, University of Maine was really more or less their intent to go to University of Maine with my former shitty guy, Scott Pallorin. After back to my second year junior, toot my horn a little bit, I ended up winning Player of the Year in junior in Canada. And the guy that won the year before me was Paul Korea.
Wow.
So going to University of Maine was kind of my go-to thing, but then the summer, talking to Mike Johnson, coach of UMB, kind of talked me into trying it out there, and just kind of things went that way, maybe being a little closer to home. Maybe that's the reason why I decided to kind of go the UMB route.
No regrets?
No regrets at all. Not at this point now. Mike, even the years at UMB was 2 great years. I only had to do 2 years, but Mike gave me the opportunity to move on from there, which definitely no regrets.
Mike goes to the Canadian national team. Your phone rings. He brings you along. What's that experience like, playing with the Maple Leaf on your chest?
No, definitely. That was, and I'm happy Mike obviously came through on his words. I mean, he went to UMB telling me he'd be in 4 years. And my first year, he took off to Canada's national team. So I was kind of disappointed in that whole thing. But then once that phone rang in the summer to come and try for Team Canada, things kind of, okay, here's my chance to maybe go for it. And things went really well. I ended up making that team play for Team Canada for a full year, which it doesn't exist anymore. But that was programmed back then. Playing for the national team was a great season. Like just living in Calgary, traveling the world, playing for Team Canada and having the opportunity to play some great players. So.
Did you ever think that you'd get to that stage? A lot of people think that's the highest stage that they can get to. Did you ever think when you first laced them up that you'd have aspirations of getting there?
No, not at all. I mean, it's every kid's dream. And we all dreamt it, like kids talk about Stanley Cups and Team Canada. Yeah, definitely that first, even that tryout in St. John, I remember the tryout, putting on that practice Team Canada jersey. It was still an honor, and it was still a great accomplishment for myself personally to have that opportunity. And yeah, for me, I made the best of it, and I think it was a great stepping stone for me to move on to the whole level.
You mentioned there was not a lot of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League existed back then, obviously, but not a lot of recruitment or scouting in these ranks at that time.
No, exactly, and I think they may exist, but our parents and our generation, we weren't in tune to the whole hockey world in Quebec, Ontario, how it all kind of went down. I still remember having people come to our house as my parents at the kitchen table talking about going to London, Ontario. My parents had no idea where I'm going to play in the OHL or something like that. It was more or less, we weren't sure which way to go at that point. So, kind of let me make my own road and try to guide me as much as possible. And that's, today I look back at the kids today, man, they're so fortunate to have the opportunities that are out here today. It's tremendous.
You mentioned your family. Discuss the impact that they've had on your career, leading up to that stage, getting you to the university ranks, getting you to the national program, and the sacrifices that they've made.
Oh, I mean, the whole family. I have 4 sisters and a brother, so I mean, they all follow me just like they're my parents. So they pushed me along. They guided me, and they supported me, which was the biggest thing for sure.
The professional ranks. Derek, looking back, European hockey, did you ever think now that the game has changed so much that you missed that potential window if you came a little bit, if you were a little bit younger, that you could have played provincial or professional hockey here in North America?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the game has changed a lot since I came through. For sure, all the rule changes have made room for the smaller skilled players, which is awesome. Yeah, do I regret or not regret? There's no regret to it, but yeah, there's days that I was maybe 5 years or 6 years too late. But it's still a great professional career I had in Europe, which I'm very happy for and proud of. So I mean, there's definitely days I sit back and go, man, I look at the kids today, and to have that opportunity was awesome.
What's the difference between the North American game and the European game? Just being around, the environment. Describe that.
European hockey is a whole different brand of hockey. I mean, first of all, skill-wise, skating-wise, game-wise, tactic-wise, just even the whole mentality of the crowds, the players. The players, they train, especially an example, we always talk about the Finnish hockey. When they train, they don't train during the season like high, low, cut back. They start training at a young age, and they don't stop until they're done.
Wow.
So they're always training and training. And it's not necessarily harder and harder, but they're training for a purpose. And I think even when it comes to their game style, too, like the European game is a thinking game. So it's for the thinkers, the skill, a little more space and time, so you got to be creative. And it's hectic game, just for the fact also of the ice size. It's not it's hard to trap up in an Olympic-sized rink. You got to play a different kind of game, and so I enjoy that. It's kind of my game, and I think it's starting to come a little bit more over here in North America. I think we're learning a lot also from Europeans, and you see more and more skilled players and more Europeans coming over too.
The fans. Everyone sees the North American game. Fans in Europe. It's a totally different experience for fandom.
Oh, it's funny because I tell friends, you got to see it to believe it. Even my family come visit. You got to really see this to get to enjoy it, because it is crazy. It's a typical, you watch soccer, World Cup soccer, you watch a soccer game, it's just like that in the rink. You have your fans in the corner with the flags and the flares, the drums and the singing, and it's a whole different atmosphere. They don't stop chanting, they don't stop singing the whole game. And it's quite an environment.
Your longevity, Derek. How did you do it? That many years at the professional level.
Well, I think it's just, like you said earlier, I was lucky. I was gifted in the way of skating. I was always a skater and a strong skater, but it was just, to me, it's mental. I used to always say, when I played up till I was 40 years old, so at the end, they're telling me I was too old at 30 years old, I was getting old. So for me, it was always the thing of mind over matter. Age, if you don't mind, doesn't matter. So it's, for me, just another year for me to kind of battle through, and that was my adversity, and that was my challenge every year to push myself to become that guy I wanted to be.
Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Sports Inclusive with Derek Cormier.
Do you have something to share? Let everyone know about your next meeting, your need for volunteers, or your fundraising event on the Rogers TV Community Billboard. Send us your words and we'll bring them to life on Rogers TV and RogersTV.com. When it's time to spread the word, go to RogersTV.com to add your announcement to the Community Billboard.
Our informant from producer Rick Morweather is wearing a wire.
Who are those other guys?
Kubrick and Coppola.
You took a 1 and you turned it to a solid 5.
Out of 10.
How to borrow this?
In the face, abortion sin.
You don't seem to mind put bullets in someone.
That's the same thing. I don't shoot babies.
He has my eyes. He has his mother's cheekbones. He has her competitive nature. He has my weird sense of humor. He has her love of reading. He has my oxycodone.
Some things should never be passed down. Lock up or turn in your prescription drugs. Learn more at secureyourmeds.ca. A message from Drug Free Kids Canada.
Everybody come along. Everybody sing songs. Lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. Everybody come along. Everybody sing a song. Lighten up and carry on. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day.
Welcome back to Sports Inclusive. Derek, just before the break, we were talking about longevity. How, you talked about it, mind over matter, but the injuries, the day-to-day, the overuse injuries from that long of a career that spanned, 16 seasons. You talked about being lucky. There's some skill there as well.
Oh, I mean, I was very fortunate, actually, when it came to injury. I had a few here and there, bumps and bruises and stuff like that. Nothing serious that really set me back months. So, during the season and doing that kind of stuff too, it's taking care of yourself. There's definitely times that, come summertime, you let yourself go a little bit, but during the season was always one of those things that you had to take care of yourself. You had to, the extra stretch and the extra whatever it had to be to prepare yourself to get ready. And, yeah, you said lucky, but I still believe, I was very fortunate. Just very fortunate not to have that, career kind of injury of shoulder gone or a knee gone. But once again, I bring that back to also maybe my game, my style, my skill, like that I didn't put myself in those positions that I knew I was going to get hurt. And not that I was scared, didn't go in corners, I did all that kind of stuff, but I knew maybe how to protect myself. And that's kind of a skill in its own, and I think that's where I've kind of had that, maybe that part of my game.
What was your playing weight?
I think it was probably 167. So I wasn't very big.
That was top secret back in the day.
Back in the day, the program was 180, but I was about 167 playing weight. So I was light. I was lean, and that's as much during the season you try to carb up and get all that weight on. Just if you're on base every day and you're going, and it was tough. But I was playing weight and I felt comfortable that way too. So
having a family and having them experience Europe, that had to be special.
Oh, definitely for us. No, it's been. We're fortunate to have what we had at the end of my career. I played 6 years in Germany prior to really having my family, and then actually my boy Cole, at 6 months old, we went to Switzerland, and in Switzerland we spent 12 years in the same place. So for me to spend 12 years in the same town, it's rare. First of all, for an import to have this,
right? But
rare for a family to be able to experience this. Stay in the same village, go to the same school, have friends. It was, for us, that's what made my career also long, because we're set in place. We had a home base. I wasn't traveling back and forth to different teams. Then it would have been a little tougher on the family to make this travel. And by having that home base, it made my job easier, and definitely my family's too.
A lot of European teams, Derek, the contracts are two years, max 3. For you to say that did they give you a long-term contract, or was it a 2-year evaluation and we'll see where you are on the third?
I started off the 1-year contract, and things went well early, and they kind of signed me to a 2-year deal off the bat. And then kind of after that first year, that second year, I kind of went in again. I was happy where I was. They were happy with me, so it was kind of a give on both sides that we. I was fair to them, they were fair to me, and I had no intention of really leaving. Once I got settled in there for 4 or 5 years, for me to pack up and go somewhere else, it really wasn't in my mind. Like for me, I liked this thingness, the home feeling, and so every year kind of rolled into a 2-year, then a 3-year. Then after my first of that one, another 3 years. So everything kind of rolled into, next thing you know, it was 12 years later, and it flew by.
Some inspirational people behind the scenes, Derek, in your career. You've already mentioned a few coaches, but those inspirational people that you looked up to, potential players, or those local heroes.
Yeah, I mean locally, Obviously my family was a big inspiration for me to push me on and me to where I've been. And all my hockey coaches growing up, they're all my buddies' dads, and everybody was just, it was a small community of Shediac that kind of people just guided me. And every level, I think someone touched us in a certain way to push us to the next level. So every coach I can go through from high school to junior to university, but I had to say, like Mike Johnson and having that year at National, Mike Johnson, Tom Rennie, as a dual head coach, Tom Rennie, listen to him talking and trusting him. He just was a great speaker and great motivator. And then you had Mike as your S&O kind of guy, and just learning from these guys was just a great year. Had some great players that year too that kind of came in and out different times, like guys like Glenn Anderson and Gary Roberts and Dean Evison, and so you're learning a lot from these kind of guys too, experience, and it was a great year.
You mentioned some great leaders. You also were a great leader. In your opinion, what are the characteristics that make a prototypical captain or assistant captain on a European team where imports, you only had a certain amount of imports as well?
No, I think it's open. I'm open. I was fair, honest, and that's the biggest thing. And I want a raw kind of screamer, kicker in the dressing room, and I think guys respect part of it. And I always try to show my leadership more on the ice, and working hard and showing by example that way. And just even, like I said, being a captain for my last 10 years in Switzerland with us kids, it was, you got to listen to these guys. You got to listen to locals, and you got to take their word. And you kind of be that liaison between coach and players and be a guy. And I think just being fair and honest and being for your team and being a team player is a key thing. It's not individual. It's about the team, the best of the team at all times.
You talk about being a team player and the game, Derek. How has the game changed? And discuss, now that you have, Cole, your son drafted to Rimouski, this narrow focus that we're seeing in the game now from a young age, that didn't happen in your era. Maybe just talk about the impact that specialization is having in the game of hockey.
Oh, definitely. The game, that part of the game has definitely changed. We all say these multi-sport kids, we grew up playing soccer and baseball and doing all, but I think our generation obviously was different too, that once hockey was over, everybody hung up the skates and everybody played sports. There were no hockey year-round. There was no specialized training. And I know we talk a lot about hockey because that's our field, but you look at any sport that we talk about, it could be dance, it could be soccer, it could be what. Everybody's doing their sport and specializing in it as much as possible. And is it good, is it bad? I think kids, I'm a believer that kids have to have a way from the rink. I'm in the spring hockey stuff, and I think spring hockey is good. It kind of finishes off their season, but yes, after that, take a few months summer, enjoy it, be a kid, and then come back and get back on the ice. And I think the game has definitely changed when it comes to that kind of stuff. People are definitely push that one sport.
The impact that you've had as a player and what you've taken from the professional ranks, how has that changed you as a coach?
I think, the experience. The experience I've had many different coaches, from Swedish coaches and German coaches, and Finnish coaches and Canadian coaches and Russian guys. I've had pretty much a kind of coach, and maybe as a player, I wish I would have paid more attention, a little bit more to all their full details, because they all had great things. But I did remember a lot of stuff that was taught to me, and I picked up a lot of stuff. And I think I'm trying to put that out there as much as I can to kids, and that's what I enjoy doing now is teaching kids as much as I can help them.
Skills or mentality? What's more important?
I'm gonna go mentality. The game is still 80-20. You still got to have the head for it. Just not mentally strong, but the game of hockey is a thinking game. It's a very fast game, so you got to be able to outthink your opponent at all times. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you can't think it, you can't do it. So to me, you got to really, really be thinking the game. And I think kids have to become, it's like anything, you have to be a student of the game. Kids go down to a skill. Well, why am I doing that skill? They have to know why they're doing the skill before they can put it to it.
Coach Fandom, the last few years, what makes that age so unique and so special?
I enjoy it because they're still fresh. They're still raw in a way. They're still learners. They're so keen. They still have a dream, and that's why I enjoy coaching Fandom, because they're the next stepping stone. You know, midgets kind of that age now where things do change a bit. It becomes a little more win focused, and you know, we want success, and you know, in our eyes, and the Fandom team that I've been coaching the last couple of years, that we emphasize, you know, what we're here to develop players and get you to be the best player you can be. And but I know it's a lot of fun, definitely.
Talk about winning. How difficult is it to balance developing versus winning? Because you know, at that provincial AAA levels, that's the expectation. Oh no!
Hey, we all want to win. Parents all want to win. Everybody wants to win, but you still got to remember what we're there for. It's not about winning. At the end of the day, we want to see kids develop in a proper way and have every kid pass that opportunity to be in that position, or to have that opportunity to play at that moment. There's sure we've all done it, coached that. You know, you're coming to a provincial final, and you know what? You have to make choices sometimes, and it's not easy. And we just go for the best for the team. It's not because of a kid or individual. It's the best for the team at that point. And I think, for the most part, when it comes to that, parents realize that. It's definitely hard. Parents sometimes get upset, but it's if your kid's sitting or your kid's not sitting, it's always a little different thing going on. So,
stats, goals. You're an offensive player, but what's your fondest memory of playing professional hockey? It's not one goal or one assist. It's the entire experience.
That's the whole experience. The game of hockey itself, what I miss the most is the daily routine of a pro hockey player is just being around the dressing room, hanging out, and going down for the breakfast and the coffee, and having a stretch, get on a bike for a bit, go on practice, go on a bike again, go for lunch, go for a nap, have supper. I mean, there's no better life of that, and just being around that whole part of the game.
Last question. Advice for a skilled young player that might be not as tall. What would you tell them?
No, you got to think the game. I talked about earlier. You got to think the game, and you got to believe in yourself. And you know, and push yourself, challenge yourself, and it's the game today. Being a skilled player and small player, it's there for you. It's there for you. So it's not about being quick. It's about being smart. And those are the kind of things that I try to teach kids a lot of times. It's not about going 100 miles an hour. It's about, why am I going fast? Why am I slowing it down? Why am I doing this? So I think it's really being smart, really study the game, and become that way you want to be.
Well, Derek, your career speaks for itself. A tremendous pro career and now coaching career. We wish you all the best and continued success. Thanks for coming.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
When you become a Rogers volunteer, it's always an opportunity for everybody to come together and try different things that they've never been able to do before.
What I've learned here is different skills that I thought I would never even be interested in learning.
By being here at Rogers, I can learn all these different things that will help me be stronger.
Working here as a volunteer is a good way to get to know your community. It's a good way to learn how to work as a part of a team.
They're people from our community, so they know and they have a heart for our community to step outside of our comfort zone and do more.
Don't be afraid, because this is where you're going to gain the most valuable experience that you can use in your future.
I encourage everybody to be a volunteer at Rogers TV, because not only do you grow professionally, you grow personally as well.
Sports fans know Sundays are for football. That's why you need NFL Sunday Ticket. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you'll get every live game, every Sunday, all season long. More plays, more action, more to love, live in HD. Order NFL Sunday Ticket for only $199.99 and get up to 200 regular season games every Sunday. Call 1-888-ROGERS-1 today.
Do you have something to share?